Welcome to Her Homeostasis. This video is going to be about 3 things that help me to manage my weight as a person with type 1 diabetes. I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I am not a medical professional or a registered dietitian. I'm not qualified to give medical or dietary advice. Please don't take anything I say as medical or dietary advice, and please always talk to your medical team and registered dietitian before making any medical or lifestyle changes. So now I'll get into it. And so 3 things that help me to manage my weight. The first thing is that I think about the location of where I eat, because the location where I eat matters. So if I noticed that when I eat in front of a TV, I end up eating more than if I don't eat in front of a TV. And I think my brain or something I think it's psychological. I think I'm just associating TV with food. And so even when I'm not hungry, sometimes if I'm just watching TV, I feel like I want to eat. So I am very careful to limit the amount of TV that I watch, and that helps me to limit the amount of extra calories I consume and extra food I consume. I also am careful about where I eat. So I try not to eat in the living room or the kitchen, because I also tend to eat more when I eat in those locations. So I actually noticed that I like to eat in my bedroom or my office because I tend to eat less there. I'm able to focus more on my hunger cues rather than just eating because of some sort of psychological phenomenon. I am able to listen to my body more and not overeat when I eat in the right locations. So that is the number 1. Number 2 is that I have learned the hard way to prioritize sleep over the amount of exercise I do and the amount of calories I eat. So I actually now prioritize sleep. I learned that the hard way because of my work schedule. I start work at 6 or 7 in the morning, and then I end it usually 2 or 3 p.m., sometimes later. But I like to, as a person with type 1 diabetes, I like to exercise in the morning when I have the cortisol rise, because my blood sugar is more is more stable. And so I started waking up earlier and earlier to be able to have enough time to do all my normal stuff and exercise before work. So I started waking up at 3:30 in the morning, but I thought it was fine because you always hear like get 8 hours of sleep. So I thought if I went to bed at 7:30 p.m. And then wake up at 3:30 a.m. to exercise before work, that it would be fine. But after a while of doing that, I ended up developing really bad heart palpitations. I even went to the doctors and they ran all these tests, but they said I was fine. So then I started thinking that maybe it had to do with stress and anxiety. So I started like meditating, and I started cutting back on my caffeine, and I think those things are good to do anyways, even if you don't have heart palpitations. But I think it was good that I was doing those things anyways, and now I'm still doing those things, so that's cool. But I that didn't really get rid of my heart palpitations. And these heart palpitations were really scary because I counted that I got up to, I believe it was over 40 heart palpitations in one day. And some of them were really, really scary. It felt like it was like a hammer through my chest. It would stop me in my tracks. Like I would like sometimes like hunch over and grab my chest. I couldn't not do that. And it was embarrassing sometimes. Like I remember walking outside and then I like was like hunched over, like little tiny movements were making the heart palpitations worse. So I thought it was exercise that was causing it, because every time I would move, like I would move my arm, then I'd get a heart palpitation. I would bend down to put the dishes in the dishwasher, I would get a heart palpitation. I would try to put my laundry into the washer, get a heart palpitation. And then when the more intense my exercise, like when I would go on the stationary bike, the intensity of the palpitations were getting even stronger, and it was very, very scary, and I felt very sad because I love to exercise. I've been exercising my whole life, and um, and like I'm a runner, and I've run many different half marathons. I ran a marathon. And I've been a runner my whole life, and then I like to play capoeira, and I like to be active, and it's not just that I like to be active. I need to be active because it helps me with my blood sugar levels. So I felt very sad that like it felt like movement was causing my heart palpitations, but um, I started cutting back on the amount of exercise I was doing and the intensity of the exercise. Even small movements were causing heart palpitations, but I was still trying to exercise even tiny bits as much as I could. But I was really cutting back, so I ended up sleeping in later, um, sleeping in later until like 4:30 a.m. And then I noticed that my heart palpitations stopped. So that's when I realized it had to do with my sleep. But I didn't realize that because I had read earlier that lack of sleep can cause heart palpitations. But I was getting my 8 hours of sleep. It was just that my sleep schedule had shifted to sleeping between 7:30 p.m. and 3:30 a.m. And then when I shifted it more like 8:30 p.m. to 4:30 a.m., then my heart palpitations stopped. And so then I realized it's not even just about the amount of sleep, it's also about when you sleep. And I don't know exactly what the physiological or medical reason for that is. I suspect it has something to do with a mismatch between my sleep schedule and my circadian rhythm, maybe like through my physiology off. I don't know what was happening. I can't explain it. I'm sure there's someone out there that can, but I can't. So anyways, I now prioritize um, sleeping over exercising. I still exercise every single day, but I just have to try to squeeze it in, in less time before work. And so another thing that I do is I prioritize sleep, still on number two. I prioritize sleep over even the amount of calories I eat, because another thing that I noticed about myself is that I cannot sleep if I'm hungry. I have some theories as to why that is, but I want to keep this video short, so I'm not going to go down that road. But I feel wired when I'm hungry. Like my eyes are bulging. I'm just like I'm awake. But then when I sleep, I get relaxed. Or sorry, when I eat something, I get relaxed and then I fall asleep. So actually, my go-to thing trick to try to fall asleep for me is to actually just eat food. And then it usually helps me. It doesn't always, but a lot of the times it does help me. It helps me to just relax. And so I actually just eat the extra calories because I know that in the long run, getting enough sleep will help me with my weight management and my blood sugar management. And I can go into details of why I know that that works, but I want to keep this video short. So that's number two. And then number three is I prioritize my blood glucose levels over my calorie count as well. So I noticed that when my blood sugars are not well managed, I end up eating more calories and gaining more weight. So if in the short term I need to eat more calories to maintain my blood sugar in range, then I do that because I might be eating more calories in the short term, but in the long term, I'll be eating less calories because I won't be on that roller coaster and then having all these extra lows and then eating all these extra calories. And also, when I prioritize my blood glucose, I think that that also affects how hungry I get. So when I'm have more stable blood sugars, I feel less hungry. And so it's just, sometimes I eat the extra calories in the short term to be able to eat less calories in the long term. That's what I noticed. So I have said my three things. One, location matters for my weight management. Location of where I eat matters for my weight management. Two is I prioritize sleep even over the amount of exercise I do or the amount of calories I eat. And three, I prioritize my blood sugar over my calorie count. And that is it. So I hope that that helped you and maybe gave you something that you can talk about with your medical team and registered dietitian if you want. And I hope that helps. So, peace out.